nobody's safe. Soon as we step out the cage, we raising all of the stakes. Make no mistake.
They're going to kill me. I told them to send me a video holding an object and start nodding.
Anything is a dildo when you really put your mind to it. There's no such thing as too large or too sharp. Every time you stop to question yourself, I want you to tell yourself, I can, and I will.
There you go, folks. We dropped from 2 people watching on YouTube to 1 just off that, right? The effect of that video. But that's the way to start off a Shogun episode 1 review over here at the MCU'S YouTube channel and podcast. I am Jeff S, aka TrueKnowledge, holding it down, steer the ship for episode 1. Anjin with co-host Cyberneticshark, rocking the panel with Brian Shirley for the first time on the Bleeding Edge panel. What's going on, Brian?
Not much. Thanks for having me. Appreciate the invite.
Cyber, how are you doing, sir?
I am great, sir. How are you doing?
I am wonderful, sir. Jocelyn Barrett, what's going on? Drinking games are on. The
Hello,
drinking
Jocelyn.
words. I know. What's up, Jocelyn? You stoner fuck. Probably stoned already. Drinking games are on. Drinking words are Shogun, and any combination of John Blackthorn, whatever. That's uttered. So really bad. For the drinking game, probably not the best words. So we're waiting on Cyber to pick ones for Heat on Friday. But folks, we're here to rock out episode 1 here. We're going to be reviewing the Shogun episode series, episodically throughout the whole series for the next 9 weeks after this. We decided to just do episode 1 that was 1 hour and 10 minutes tonight and not try to do both episodes, which was a good move. Thank you for that, Cyber. And so basically I'm going to start right off by just thanking everybody for helping us get to 40,000 subscribers recently. And I hope you all enjoyed the show. And I'll go to you, Cyber, and just get your overall thoughts to, just a quick summary of your impression of the first episode of Shogun after watching it right off cuff.
It was a really solid first episode.
Drink. I already said Shogun, so.
Really first good solid episode. Really enjoyed it. And, right from the get-go, it is very solid. The acting, the cinematography, the clothing, the look, it all looked very authentic. And I really enjoyed how they, right from the get-go, they get into it. And they give us all this great kind of knowledge and give us this history of Japan and kind of their lifestyle a little bit. And, right off the bat, we're introduced to, what they keep calling barbarians, which are the English, basically. But what I found interesting about it, too, is the fact that they kept referring to the English people as Portuguese, which kind of cracked me up. I was like, was that something that was going around during that time frame in, Japanese history, where they thought that majority of the people were Portuguese and didn't realize that there was other nations. So I think that was kind of interesting that they kept referring to John Blackthorn, Drake, as a Portuguese, or they kept saying, oh, do you have somebody that speaks Portuguese? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, and when they started talking English, I'm like, huh? I'm like, was English called Portuguese back in the day? I'm like, this is interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing if they include more about that as the show goes on. But this first episode was really solid. Great action, great storytelling, and just overall a really great first episode.
Brian.
Yo, I loved it. Right away it caught me. Like Cyber said, I dug the dynamic that they set out through text. The Portuguese having heavy trading with Japan, but the rest of Europe doesn't really know it. That time, Spain, Portugal, bitter enemies, and England, thrown in the mix. So you got those 3 different European powers, all with strong navies, and then you got 5 warring warrior clans in Japan. In a Game of Thrones type struggle for the temporary throne because the heir is too young. They set so much up right at the beginning. I was immediately, just in 5 minutes, you got that, and you got just the terrible conditions on this ship, scurvy, malnutrition, just disgusting, shit and piss everywhere on this ship. Very, 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 it was just a fantastic start for me. And I had heard going in, I didn't know much about it. I saw this original back in 1980. My parents made me watch with them. So I was an 8-year-old. They made me watch Shogun, the miniseries, which is the same thing as this. This is a remake of that. And that was at the time the most popular miniseries of all time. And it won lots of Emmy Awards. It was very popular, but it was super cheesy compared to this. I remembered, I tried to find it and watch that also before this, but couldn't track it down. Anyway, I've babbled enough, but I loved it. It grabbed me from the beginning. I thought to myself, this might be my next Game of Thrones. So,
oh boy, folks, look at that. Our next Game of Thrones. Now, I'm sure he probably must have dropped a drink word at some point during that, and I must have just probably not noticed it or something like that. You must have, because like these drink words are seriously not good ones. Like, I mean, in terms of getting fucked up.
Nope, he didn't drop one drinking word, sir.
He's playing things safe to start the show off. He wants to make sure that Jeff has true knowledge, makes it through the whole show.
What were the drinking words again?
You're not going to get me like that, sir. Maybe later on. Wait till an hour from now, and then maybe you'll get me. But I'm not.
I don't know the rules, man. You're hazing the new guy. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Come on, man.
I'll put it up on the screen in a minute. All right, I'll put it up on the screen in a minute, sir. Don't try to play games with me.
I'm
all right.
good at figuring out.
I've got a Shogun episode 1 Anjin review.
Oh, you just said it. Shogun, drink.
That was purposeful, though. See. We're gonna set this up for one of these shows, Cyber, where it's gonna be like the challenge is gonna be get me drunk as fuck, like when I moderate, like as one of like the drinking game deals, like it's coming. Anyway,
well, we already established that a couple of episodes ago, sir.
I know I already hit the hammer time zone already off the drinking game once moderating the show. So, anyways, all right. So basically, now what I want to ask you guys about the intro of the episode is your thoughts on the cinematography and the costume design, right, in these opening sequences, because starting off with things at sea with the ship, right, with a Mr. Blackthorn, drink everybody, as the navigator pilot of the Aramis. The captain has scurvy. He's all fucking crazy and shit, whatnot, stupid and shit. Even though, Mr. Navigator, sir, has like all these special, inventions from back in the 1600s, because that's the time period we're in, and can detect that we're close to land. He finds sand and all this shit and whatnot with one of those little deals. And basically, they started off with 500 people strong, and this place is like a ghost ship now. It's an interesting conversation, the discussion between the captain and Mr. Blackburn right off the bat. Drake. But so the captain basically is giving up right from jump. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Brian.
I was just going to ask you if you were picking up any cannibal vibes. Like, were those guys eating each other?
No, they weren't that type. But basically, the ship looks like a ghost ship already. They started off with 500 people. Now they're down to the last couple dozen or whatever. We see the villager, on the Japanese mainland. Now at this point, Portugal has had a lockdown on Japan, right? They basically kept them a secret as a trading partner and whatnot and everything, and basically established, sort of like not a colonial relationship, but a really mutually beneficial trading, situation with Japan. They protected and kept to themselves. So these are Dutch, sailors. They are not Protestant. They are Catholic, right? And the Portuguese are Protestant, and that's important, and will play into later on into the episode of Shogun. And their Christianity, I guess you could say, over Japan at that time. But so the villager from Japan actually sees the ship and its enormity and whatnot. I thought that was just epic, that shot. the military, I guess you could call it, almost shows up or whatever, whatnot, and boards the vessel, finds, the starving, a little bit of the crew that's left and whatnot and everything, and kind of just leaves them hanging out in there. But they've reached Japan. They're the only other country besides Portugal to have found the Japans, as they call it. So then we go into Lord Toranaga on his horse, with his hawk or whatever, whatnot. He has this interesting scene where, his hawk, has a kill or whatever. And you see him kind of like, discussing things with his entourage, right? And sort of like, through his banter, explaining kind of like what he's about to go through when he goes to, Osaka Castle, right off that scene. Where, he's there to meet the 4 leaders of the Council of Regents who were put in place essentially to rule Japan while the previous leader's son, who was 5 years old, reaches age to be able to lead. He comes in and there's tension right from jump because he's married some different wives or whatnot and everything, and kind of like increased his, his fiefdom and whatnot, right? Really spread his wings a lot. And so that he's viewed as like a threat among the council, and they basically want to impeach him. And you see him kind of methodically play, with words and whatnot and everything throughout the way he works the council as they're trying to draw him out, which causes the ire of one of his folks, one of his peeps, who, calls out like, the other 4 council members and their samurai, right? And when Lord Toranaga silences him and is like, I'm not insulted, dude's about to kill himself from a jump. I forget what the word is for that. I'll look it up. But dude's about to like kill himself right there and like end his line off that. But essentially, they threaten to impeach Lord Toranaga if he does not restore or like, they believe he's keeping captive, essentially, one of the main characters of the show, who is, of course, Toga, how do you pronounce her name? Toda Mariko, right? They believe that she's being trapped there while she's there, like on her own will. So he leaves, having had all 4, council members aside him signed off on impeaching him if this doesn't happen in 9 days or whatever. So I'll stop there. I'll go to you, Brian. Your thoughts on those opening scenes, and then just have at it. Take as much time as you want.
I liked it. A lot of, as you went through political intrigue, the scene at the temple was intense. I didn't realize the full ramifications that were to come of the guy, of his samurai, of Toriyaga's samurai speaking up when he shouldn't have been. That had a heavy impact to come. And I love that actor. First of all, the guy who's playing Lord Toriyanga, he had repping this into the MCU a little bit. He was the guy that played the Japanese gangster that Ronin fights in Endgame. Same actor. I think he's a great actor. He's been in so many.
That would be Hiroyuki Sanada.
Okay, I'm going to trust you on that. I like that guy though. He's solid, right? I mean, he's not like John Blackthorne.
Nice.
Oh, Drake.
I gave a long pause, fellas. Come on. All right. Yeah, so I loved it. Great. Political intrigue. It's moving a little slow, but not too slow for me. I'm loving the stuff. See, I don't think they're Dutch, by the way. I think Blackthorn's English for sure, and they were pretending to be a Dutch ship. That was their cover. The triangle here, I think, is going to be Spain, Portugal, England. That's the
okay. That makes sense.
International. That's the international intrigue here. And we established that that Blackthorn, sorry,
Nice.
Rick?
I'm going to start calling him the pilot. We established that he's a main character. You can just tell that right away. The way he's handling the crew, the way he is handling his captivity, all of that. He's just a main character, main character energy, and he's deceptive as hell, but you can tell that he can kick some ass too. So I'm digging that character. All in all, I'm loving it up to this point.
Cyberneticshark, sir, your thoughts?
So the beginning of the episode is really well done. We get to see some really great cinematography. We get to see a lot of great aesthetics on the ship. We get to see the clothing of the time, which was really done well by the production on the clothing and everything like that. It's all very authentic looking. Looks really well. We get introduced, of course, to the pilot. We get introduced, of course, to Lord Yoshi Toranaga, who is played by, of course, Hiroyuki Sanada, who actually is based on, in reality, Tokugawa Ieyasu is actually who that character is based on, that the book took from, along with the pilot himself is actually based on a character named, a real person named William Adams, is also the real person's name. If I remember correctly, in the original series with Richard Chamberlain, they used names that were closer to the real people, if I remember correctly, because that miniseries was really fantastic. I enjoyed it myself. But we get this really kind of interesting story, basically where this one guy's trying to get off without being killed, basically. And they have like this, kind of this meeting going on where they're sitting in front of each other and talking and something like that. And then the one soldier guy kind of loses it and then says he's going to kill himself in his line. And I was like, as soon as he said that, I was like, are you fucking stupid? I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? And I'm like thinking to myself, like, this dude is just an idiot. Like, why would you say I'm going to kill my son in line and stuff like that because I disgraced you? I know that's something that, was very common at the time over in Japan. I think in a lot of the Asian areas, a lot of people killed themselves for supposedly dishonoring things. But it just seemed like a normal outburst that you would see today. But I just thought, hey, idiot, shut up, is basically what I got from that. But very well played out, very, greatly acted. I like that, we got kind of an idea of what, that kind of surrounding area, looks kind of in this portion of part of Japan that they're in. And I thought they did a really good job with that aesthetically, making it looking very, that century. Supposed to be during, of course, the late 1500s to the early 1600s. So
very historically accurate.
Yes, very historically accurate. Really well done beginning sequence. And I was, as the time went on, I wanted more. So can't wait to talk about the next part.
I want some more from that dude's wife. You know what I'm saying? His wife was fine as fuck. For real. I'm serious. Either way. No, but I mean, good take, Cyber. Brian, what did you think of the shots and the cinematography overall in the opening sequences and then throughout the episode, just in general? I've spent a lot of money, obviously. Now I can't find like a real accurate budget for these episodes at this point, but eventually it will come out, right? How much money they spent. This looks like expensive. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, they really put a lot of detail into this.
Totally. It's, movie quality cinematography. I was just reading something, forget who said it, but TV and theater is for dialogue and movies are for the cinema experience, cinematography, wide, breathtaking expanses. That's what it's really for. And this is a TV show that feels to me like it's much more the latter. You know, it's styled to be a cinema piece, in my opinion. So big fan. I was kind of worried about that. Sometimes TV budgets. This is on FX, which isn't a huge. You know, it's not HBO. You know, and so I was worried that the quality wouldn't be, you know, allow me to just get immersed in it. But yeah, I have zero complaints. I was completely immersed in the cinematography, in the setting. So,
Cyber,
What was the question?
your thoughts overall, not just the opening scenes, but overall on the cinematography, the obvious attention to detail, and the money that they must have put into the series.
Oh, I think it's really well done so far. I mean, it looks aesthetically amazing. Like I said earlier, just how accurate it looks and how well everything looks. I feel like they put a lot of effort into making the show and giving us a kind of a great revival of this already, you know, well-known miniseries from the 80s. And, you know, they definitely, from, you know, the type of actors that they picked up for the show too, you know, they're putting out some bait for these actors, especially Hiroyuki Sanada. I mean, he's a big deal. He's a huge actor that has been in a lot of big things, a lot of big films. And so he's not cheap, I'm sure. So I feel like this really had a really great backers to produce it. And I can guarantee you it's probably looking at $1 million to $2 million an episode with what this is looking like. So it's really high quality, I feel.
If not more, right? Potentially. In all honesty, I mean, some of those shots, even in the opening, again, the shots of the ship, the shots of the sea, in the episode, I thought were really well done. But back into the episode, right? So coming off of the sort of, I guess you could call it laid back yet heated, right, council meeting, you know, that Lord Toranaga just experienced, he essentially ends up going back home, to kind of like talk with his, I'm not sure what this character's name is, but sort of like his co-counsel or whatever, whatnot, right? The gentleman that he sends to go later on and to inspect the ship. That would be the first drink I made. Was stout as shit. But a little private chat driven into the show there, folks. But no, so coming off the Osaka Castle, you know, the theater, you know, the council meeting type deal, we end up with, you know, Lord Toranaga talking to his underling, that I guess is sort of like his, you know, co-host, basically talking to him about having to go and check out this ship that just showed up with all these, you know, starved. They don't know who the hell they are because they're not Portuguese. And I thought it was an interesting dialogue, right? From there, we essentially end up with Toranaga, basically counseling off of that into the inspection of the boat, and the crew ends up being locked in the galley, as we said before. Blackthorn rallies the troops, right? Because the captain's committed suicide. His scurvy ass was done from jump. He's basically rallies the troops, and like tells them, hey, this is Portugal's hidden jewel of the East, right? Protestant scoundrels, Blackthorn, raises the spirits of the crew that are like, starving, like near death, basically, right? Being at this point, having been boarded by the Japanese. Now we actually get introduced into Todo Mariko, consoling the wife of the underling of Lord Toranaga's from the council meeting that wanted to kill himself, holding one of their sort of blades, their like killing themselves blades or whatever, knives, to like her own child, to like end her own line, I believe. unless I'm wrong, right? Guys, is that what she was basically going to do?
Yeah, she was gonna kill herself.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's pretty dire
Well,
shit.
That's because the guy who spoke up at the Board of Regents, the Regents meeting, had doomed everybody. It wasn't just him; it was him and his whole line. And she was going to have to kill the kid. And that's what all that dynamic was.
I know, and I really thought that whole scene was powerful. I really liked what she said. Let her hands be the last to hold her sons, right? As they, essentially, as they're about to what? I guess they killed the child. God bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank God, sneezing is not on the drinking word list. Anyways, so it was baby killing time and shit and whatnot. The shit's hardcore. And that's our introduction to essentially Anna Sawi as Toda Mariko, sort of bringing down the wife when she's like all heated and shit and whatnot. Now, Cyber, who exactly is she supposed to be? This Toda Mariko and whatnot. What is her importance? Is she not the person that the council is pissed off about that Lord Tornada has?
Honestly,
that's the
I
mom
think
of
that's
yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah. So basically, coming off of the baby killing shit, we end up with Lord. I love this guy, Yabushiga. He's fucking dope as shit. I already mentioned him with Brian earlier. He's probably my moniker and Bowl Award winner for the episode so far. He goes down. They pull Blackthorn out of the fucking galley, beat his ass. He gets pissed on, right, when he talks shit to one of the underlings of Lord Yabushiga. He gets pissed on and shit for talking shit. They can't understand him. One of the villagers is trying to help him. Tell him, be good, basically, as they're walking him through the village, one of the villagers walks up and tries to pray to him or some shit, and they cut his fucking head right off.
It's a Catholic.
Yeah,
it's because the religious aspect. Both the Portuguese and the Spaniards are Catholics. This guy is Protestant. Blackthorn.
He's Protestant.
But you can see all the Catholics are wearing the crosses, and he's spotting those.
What word do we say that was the drinking word there? He said Protestant.
I said Blackthorn.
Blackthorn. Drink again.
And some of the Japanese population has been converted because among the Portuguese traders, there have been some missionaries as well. So there's some Catholic missionaries rolling around, and the guy that you like, Yabashige, that guy and most of the Japanese don't give two shits about any of these Western religions, but they've managed to convert a few. So that was a Catholic convert who went up to the guy to pray for him. He was doing this, sign of the cross right in front of him, right when his head got chopped off. And that caught me. I was like, boom! Wow. That was not expecting that,
He really fucking got his ass.
It sets up the weird. There's just so many competing forces that are going to be happening in the show. You've got the missionaries, the true believing Catholics who are Portuguese, and then we later get a Spanish guy. So you get both of those reflected, and they're trying to spread Catholicism.
Well, let me stop, Brian. Let me stop there. Before we get into, the priest coming in to translate, right, between, Lord Yabushiga and all that and whatnot, why don't you just go ahead and address overall the scenes I just laid out, right? That whole part of the episode where they pull up, Blackthorn, the drink off the ship. Good thing I have one last drink in here.
Yeah, well, for me, this establishes that Blackthorn drink is a badass.
Jesus, give me a chance to reload.
he's a badass and he's pretty savvy. You know, you can tell he's savvy. And a huge part of the dynamic here is the language barrier. Even as a viewer, I found myself, you know, just saying, how the hell are these two going to communicate? How is anybody communicating? And, you know, he makes the scene you were talking about where he gets pissed on. He makes a gesture like he wants to piss on all of these guys. And I'm purposely calling him the pilot here and not by the other name.
Do you see that level of liquor right there? That's stout right there, Cyber. Yeah. That's called a real man drink right there. When you put that much liquor in your drink and then put some shit on top of it.
Could be ice water.
Nah, bruh. That is fucking like legit liquor.
I don't know. Just saying. It could be a stout ice water.
Have at it, sir.
We didn't see you for it. So the language barrier is a problem. But he's able to communicate what pissing is, so much so that the Japanese guy is like, okay, I'll fucking piss on you. And
Jesus
it was
Christ. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That scene was rough. They kind of like the initial imagery in the show was, you know, beautiful, expansive, good period pieces, and then the imagery that sticks with me in this second part is heads getting chopped off, guys being in a pit when they haven't eaten in weeks, and you know, guys getting pissed on. So it's a sort of like okay, here we go. The show's going to be hardcore.
I know, it was kind of like the Shiogami, Cyber.
About as much noise as you're making over there. Jesus fucking Christ.
I haven't pissed on since She-Hulk, baby. Cyber, your thoughts on that part of the episode, sir? As I'm about to drink my fucking crazy drink.
Okay. So when we get into this portion, you know, we get more info on who the pilot is. And we get, you know, to see him kind of like trying to communicate here with the Japanese people. And as we see, as it unfolds, you know, they do actually have an interpreter that's able to, you know, speak Japanese and speak English to him, but they refer to it as Portuguese. And we have kind of that, you know, interesting kind of exchange between him and, you know, the other general guy in charge there, Kishigi Yabasigi.
I didn't go as far as the priest yet.
Yep. I am not getting there yet. I haven't gone to the priest yet, sir. I'm not talking about
two different
interactions.
There's two different translation scenes. We're on the first right now. The priest is the second one.
Yeah. Keep up with us, Jeff. And so we have kind of that like little bit of exchange there, and then you know the general there decides we're going to take him to Hirosuke Sanada's character. And so, you know, basically, you know, even though he keeps trying to say, I want to know about my men, you know, they don't tell him anything, and basically send him on his way. And basically that's when we get introduced to this other guy. You know, we get introduced to a few of these other people and stuff like that are over in that village and stuff like that. And it's just really well constructed. Really, a lot of great information going on. A lot of fun there. Just a lot of interesting things happening. You know, learning about certain things and stuff like that, about the samurai way and stuff like that. And I feel a lot of this is very similar to The Last Samurai with, you know, Tom Cruise. We get kind of that feeling even after we get this very first episode. It's very similar with what's going on. And, you know, after, of course, we have that great sequence there where Hiroki has that conversation with that other general type of guy, that other guy that he sends off to gather the English person. that he sends on a mission. He's kind of like at first he doesn't get why he's doing it, but eventually he does agree to go do it. We have that great sequence that happened, just prior to this too as well. But like how they beat the pilot at the beginning scene was really interesting too. Like I thought that the beating sequence was done really well, and basically ends up bringing us to that sequence where that unfortunately that one gentleman's head's cut off, and you're kind of like, I wasn't expecting that either. All of a sudden he just like chops his head up. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, holy crap. I mean, this truly is TVMA, and I'm really enjoying how they're keeping it TVMA, and they're really going full tilt, unlike the original from 1980, which barely showed anything. But this definitely was a great sequence that was really enjoyable.
You're muted.
I said 1970s, sir. In the 80s, they showed shit.
Well, it was
Not
network
on TV. Mass.
Yeah, this was network TV on 1980 is when the show came out. So
Was it
they
1980?
couldn't show anything. Yeah.
Yes.
Really? No shit. When did Battlestar Galactica come out? The original one. Was it the same time period? Like what? 80, 81, 82?
I have no idea.
Cyber,
I didn't watch it.
Cyber, I have to loop back to one thing you said, Cyber. You mentioned The Last Samurai, and all I have to say is fuck Tom Cruise.
Come on, why you gotta hate on Tom Cruise like that, Brian?
Hey, to each their own. To each their own.
Is this a Scientology podcast? Let me know now.
No, sir.
Better tell me.
No,
Okay,
sir.
then fuck Tom Cruise. What do you
the
mean?
cross on my chest
Tom
is
Cruise.
not Scientology type.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's why. Fuck him, man. He's like the figurehead of him, and John Travolta can suck it.
They probably already suck each other, from what I've heard. Right, Cyber?
Oof.
They probably already sucking each other off.
Who gives a fucking shit? I don't care.
There you go, Jocelyn.
All I care about is if I enjoy a movie and he happens to be in it. That's all I care.
Me too. That's all I care about too.
I could care less that he's a Scientologist. That has nothing to do with his acting.
I don't care either. Like, that's like I told.
Hey, I agree. I could still like the movie. I didn't say I didn't like the movie. All I said was fuck Tom Cruise. That's
Hey,
let the record reflect.
And that's great. And
we covered this already with Denny Villeneuve. We don't care about that kind of shit over here at the Bleeding Edge. All we care about is whether these motherfuckers do their jobs or not. If they do their job and like they entertain us and shit and whatnot, then we don't give a fuck. We're just trying to have a good time and shit and whatnot and review shit, crazy shit like Shogun. We're about to get into like the crazy dirty slut sex scene here in a minute in the episode, which is really intense. I can't wait to actually talk about it. But gentlemen, do you have any final thoughts on that section of the episode before we move on? Brian?
On this part of the episode?
Before we get into the before we get to the part where after Blackthorn, Drake gets his ass beat and pissed on and all that.
Yeah, we've covered it pretty well, I think.
Cyber, you good?
I am good, sir. The only thing I would say is when that guy pisses on him, that was hilarious. I was like, holy shit. Like, what the hell is he doing? Did he just zip himself down to piss on him? I'm like, holy shit. This is great.
What a shock, too. I was like, holy shit, he's actually pissing on this dude? Like, seriously? Oh my god. He fucked up Blackthorn, man. Drake.
What's the Bleeding Edge official take on golden showers? You guys have a policy, pro or con?
People's fetishes, sir, are and things like that, whatnot, are of their own volition. We the Bleeding Edge do not partake in golden showers. or give them. We
That's
only
all
drop
all right.
we only drop good D and slut chicks out left and right when possible, and go to massage parlors here and there in Daytona Beach at Rockville 2024. Rose and Falls foot and body massage. $70 an hour, 35 half hour.
I once spent I was at the Pepsi 400 in Daytona Beach for a bachelor party. That's the only time in my life. I stayed in a hotel. You had to pre-book it for 4 days, and it was right on the beach. And after day 2, the front office staff left because the place was sold out, and just nobody was in the office. And one of our toilets backed up. That was a true bleeding edge moment.
You should have went to the massage parlor,
bachelor
baby.
party.
None of that would have happened. If you'd been at the massage parlor, you would have been all right. Right?
We
Like
didn't
Lauren
have
Tornaga.
strip clubs. Yeah.
Anyways, now, of course, Matthew's not here. Over in Australia, they have 4,000 strip clubs right near where Matthew's house is at. What's up? Shout out to Board to Watch. But, all right, so coming off of the pissing sequence of the episode, which was really intense, they do bring the priest in to translate between dope-ass Lord Yabushiga, fucking soldier he is, right? And, Mr. Blackthorn. Drink, gentlemen.
I like that word, Blackthorn.
And basically, they have this really interesting dialogue where the minute that the pilot makes it clear that he doesn't give a fuck, he's gonna ball up no matter what and like state who he is and what he believes in, Christian wise and whatnot. The priest just starts flat out lying and to try to like continue to keep the Japanese to themselves, to the Portuguese. Just starts lying to the Lord, who, as Brian already stated, could give a fuck less about this Christianity shit. He does not care. He's got other more interesting shit to do here soon in the episode. So he's not worried about the Christianity shit. He wants the truth. This is like an alien person to them that they can't talk to and they don't know. These Japanese people aren't fucking stupid, right? They want to find out what's going on with this shit. It's an impressive shit. This is 1600s. The shit with Catholicism and the Protestant, aspect of Christianity were not so tight at that point. So the priest is straight lying, being like, this guy's a pirate, kill him. He's bad people, all that shit and whatnot. All they end up walking out doing out of it is killing one of the crew. Which, is done in Lord Yoshiga's way. So Lord Tornaga then speaks with a child in the village where Toda Mariko comes from. I don't know if that was her daughter. I couldn't really tell, or whatever. And has this long conversation with, I guess, the mother figure, having to do with, Toda staying with him. Off that, we see, Lord Yabushiga bathing to death, like hot scolding to death one of the fucking, Blackburn drink crew. Because he essentially ascended from major to captain when the captain killed himself. He basically scolded him to death.
They say the specific reason that he's doing that is because he's fascinated by death itself, and he's trying to find if people have a moment of clarity right before they die where they speak out about what they see. And that's what he was hoping this guy would do. And then after the guy just screams like anybody would if you're being boiled to death slowly like a lobster, he's all disappointed. He's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it didn't work.
No, he's an interesting character.
He's very interesting.
I'm almost done with this. Just give me one moment, and I'll get right to you. So off of the basically being like essentially roasted to death bullshit and like bathed with hot water, burnt to death type shit. The one of the sailors, he basically just takes his head and like beats himself to death because his face basically melts off and shit and whatnot. It's pretty insane. Off that, right? That whole deal, you know, of him, you know, being killed, dude killing himself. I'll stop there and let me drop this trailer for the first time, one of these Shogun trailers, and then I'll go around to you, Cyber, and to you, Brian, and we'll cover that part of the episode.
Maybe fate brought you here for a reason. Maybe you'll live long enough to find out what it is. I won't die in this wretched land.
My master asks what you seek here.
To vanquish our common enemies. Dear God, you don't know their games.
己の敵の正体が分かっておらぬのじゃ。
出陣やむなし。The ultimate rank a mortal can achieve. Shogun.
Okay, Cyber, your thoughts, sir, on that trailer and everything we just covered in this episode 1, Anjin. What do you think, sir? Take as much time as you want.
The trailer is very solid, really well done. You get kind of a glimpse of, you know, a little bit of everything that happened in this first episode, pretty much is what they show you. A few other things from other, you know, episodes, I'm assuming. And you get kind of a good idea of just how, you know, action-packed this is going to be, and just kind of, you know, them really focusing on, you know, the accuracy of what this time period was like over in feudal Japan. And, you know, a lot of people don't realize how, like, up to, you know, maybe 50, 60 years ago, you know, Japan was very much still so very similar to this. I mean, over the years, they've had to fight a lot to get better and better at being more considered, you know, like other nations, where, you know, they've had, you know, a lot of the things that, you know, they did back in that time frame were still carried out through just, you know, 50, 60 years ago. You know, so I think it's interesting how, you know, this series from this trailer just really gives you a good example of some great history that, you know, you might not have known about. And I think that this trailer show, you know, kind of gets people's piques their interest to really want to learn more about this. Just like the original series back in 1980, or that even the book itself that came out in 75, it's a very interesting concept that was just really intriguing. And I feel this trailer really pulls you in like that. Now, where do we end? Where are we ending on the episode, sir? Where are we going up to?
we were going from when the pilot was pissed on, going up until when Lord Teranaga spoke with the child of Toda Mariko, you know, that whole deal.
Okay.
Before, you know, after basically after one of the sailors, the merchant sailors, gets scolded to death and whatnot and kills himself off that.
Yep. So I mean, after, you know, the pilot gets pissed on and everything, he gets taken, you know, to meet this new other translator, basically, and who happens to be a priest. And we get that kind of great sequence there where, like, he's trying to tell him what to say to them. He's introduced to this higher up, and he keeps lying about what, you know, Blackthorn's saying. Oh, drink. And we have that kind of great exchange, and where he's just kind of like, this priest is just really a douchebag, and because of his beliefs, unfortunately, and how, you know, just automatically assuming that the pilot is, you know, a barbarian or a pirate, you know, he's like saying all these false things when it's not true. And we get that, you know, great douchebag sequence there, and you just kind of want to smack that priest guy around and be like, shut the hell up. You are just goddamn irritating. Like, shut up. And, you know, basically him trying to say, don't take him to your master or whatever, so like that. You're just kind of cracking up going, what? We don't care what the hell you're saying, bro. We're gonna take this pilot guy, and we're gonna take him because we're gonna do that. You know, you're just a translator around here, bro. And so, you know, we get that sequence where, you know, and then it basically we go get introduced, like I said, to another character who happens to be like a sailor that is basically entrusted with taking the pilot to Hirohiko Sanada's character over in where he resides at the moment. And we get kind of introduced to him, and he treats the pilot like crap. And we get kind of an interesting little relationship going on there, and him kind of like filling him in on things, you know, and basically tell him, you know, there's a lot more to this that meets the eye. And so, you know, he basically takes him out on the boat to take him onto the boat that's going to take them across the ocean to where they have to go. And that's when we come across Hirohiko Sanada's character and talking to that child, who the child, I guess, is the son or daughter of the woman that's imprisoned that they're trying to get released. And basically, you know, Hiroyuki Sanada's character is kind of like telling him how important education is and becoming this, you know, big higher up and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, basically is trying to kind of help guide the child. And they have that interesting little conversation there. And I think this whole sequence, along with, you know, that poor sailor being bubbled to death, I was like, holy crap, they're boiling him. I'm like, oh, what a horrible way to go. Oh, that's like getting burned, you know, like in a fire or something. That's just as bad. And just to keep hearing him screaming through that whole little sequence before he dies, I was just like, holy crap, that's bad.
Well, he killed himself. He actually took his head and fucking, didn't he? He banged his head against the side of the fucking tub and killed himself.
Yeah. And it just, you know, boiling to death would be a gruesome death, most definitely. It would not feel good, just like being burnt. And so I guess this whole sequence is just really interesting as well. A lot of great stuff going on here. Lots of great scenery. Lots of great, you know, we get to see new props and different clothing and stuff like that, which was just really done well. And overall, just a really interesting sequence.
Brian, your thoughts, sir?
The translator scene with the priest, I thought was fantastic. The priest knew he wasn't a pirate. He was calling him a pirate because he wanted them to just summarily execute him, but he totally knew he was an Englishman. And it's the dynamic there was what Jeff was talking about earlier, that was a Portuguese priest, and he really wanted to make sure that they maintained that it was just their, again, pseudo colony, their trading partner, very profitable for the crown, and he just was, that was his sole intention, was to preserve that relationship. And if this Englishman survives, then he might find his way back and, report firsthand about what treasures and civilizations await the Englishman. So that's why he was just trying to get him killed right away. I loved the dialogue between Blackthorn Drink and the priest. It was like a three-way conversation. It was just fantastic. It was written so well. When Blackthorn comes to the realization that the Yobashiga, that
Drake.
he doesn't know that there are other types of Europeans other than Portuguese. And that was really, I just loved that dynamic. Thought it was fantastic. The kid, the mom, we also are learning slowly that Toranaga, in the opening scene, we were led to believe he was holding the mom and the heir prisoner as sort of leverage, but we're realizing through his discussions with his counsel that really what's going on is he's sympathetic to this kid. He wants the kid to become the heir, and he needs to protect the mom for that reason. And so it's really less of a hostage situation and more of a protectorate situation. And it's really fun. I think the episode did a great job of how we sort of start out with one impression, and as the episode goes on, it becomes very clear that in fact something else is going on. So some great dialogue. The visuals, that boiling scene, really rough. I just was not a huge, I was fine, obviously fine with it being in the show, but it was painful how long that went on. And then to end it the way he did, just because of the utter pain he was in, it was an effective scene, to say the least. So I love this portion. I think, this middle bridge part of the show, I enjoyed more than the opening part.
Well, I want to mention that it was a village spy working for Lord Toranaga who had informed him about the ship, leading to the strategic move to claim it and its armaments and all that shit and whatnot that didn't go down at that time period. But this is a really important shit right here, guys. What's up? The fucking chick that comes in, right, with Lord Yabushiga, and then bangs his nephew or whatever, or his son or some shit or whatever, whatnot. Brian, right? That scene. Your thoughts, sir. And then you, Cyber. That shit was crazy.
Yeah, there's some cuck behavior going on there by
the straight cuckery.
Yabashiga. Yeah, it was some 1600 cuckery. Yeah, that was a weird scene. Didn't know what to make of it. I wasn't that into it, but it definitely established her as a she's going to be capable of espionage. You just definitely know that she's going to be a vital character going forward, and it really did a lot to develop Yobashige. And so, yeah, I thought it was a great scene. I mean, the sexual aspect of it is, kind of creepy, but cool.
What'd you think, Cyber? Did you put yourself in that young nephew's shoes, having to fucking crush that bitch?
Well, I will have to say I was really shocked the first episode, nudity, I was like, holy crap. I'm like, this show has already got my A+.
Titties, right. Baby, titties.
And I was just kind of sitting there watching it going, I guess he gets off on this kind of weird shit. Okay. That's definitely, something that I'm not too sure how it was back in, the 15 and 1600s. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm sure it happened back then too. But I'm not sure how this was very historical, but I definitely thought it worked well in the scene and was fun.
I found it fun too, sir. That young lady was very attractive and great scene. But all right, so and I wrote it up as in my outline as now with some hoe banging Lord Yoshiba's nephew's son in my outline. There you go. The real professionals. That's how we do it, folks. Anyway, so pardon me. The pilot wakes up nude, right? And essentially, the ship is discussed between Lord Teranaga's people, as far as straightening out, the Lord Yoshiba or whatever, the claims of the armaments of the actual ship itself, ends up being put in play, right? So we see some of like the internal politics being played out. That's when we get Rodriguez put into play as a character. Now, essentially, he is brought in to also, like the priest, similarly to translate with Mr. Blackthorn, Drake. And basically, he comes in. He is Portuguese, and he straightens out Blackthorn. And kind of, what's that?
He's
Spanish.
He's Spanish.
He's Spanish. He's Spanish. He sort of straightens out Blackthorn, lets him know, hey, similar to the villager, be good. Like, you're at these people's mercy, because he mentions the youth of the pilot. Rodriguez does, and coming off that, Lord Yamashita, who I think is dope as fuck, don't give a fuck, is on the ship where they're now going to actually take the ship across the ocean over to where, Lord Yoshi Toranaga is at. During that period, we get some really great scenes, some really great shots of like the violent ocean when they hit a swale, with the Japanese sort of soldiers almost manning the oars of the ship, right? And just Blackthorn Drake tied up, having to engineer and drive, and drive and navigate along with Rodriguez. I thought that this was like the peak of cinematography of the episode, honestly. Lord Yagashiba, before they hit the swale, is almost like talking to one of his aides and saying, what a waste to have this big ship and like be just taking it to go port it, right? And not use it. They hit the swale and you see him actually jump in and take an oar upon the pilot's orders, right? To fight the swale. They get through the swale, they dock the ship, through it and whatnot. Rodriguez goes overboard during the actual, travel, and he's lost at sea. So I'll stop there. Cyber, your thoughts, sir?
So this portion of this sequence, of the episode is pretty decent. It's enjoyable. Like I said, we get to really kind of see another part of, kind of this area over in Asia. And we get to see them, basically kind of take on this crazy feat of, traveling across the land to get to where they have to go. And, we get kind of more of that camaraderie between pilot and the Portuguese guy. And, you kind of get a sense of, this Portuguese guy is definitely kind of a dick. At the same time, it's like he kind of is trying to help out, the pilot, even though he's, being kind of a dick towards him. And, you get kind of this interesting history of, kind of how the boats were built back then and how they were, they were rowed manually with several, oars. And we get to see them in action and stuff like that. And then, of course, they get into the swall and, basically the whole boat's going all over crazy, and the pilot himself has said, you got to go straight into it in order to get through it. And he even mentions that, prior to the swall appearing, he was saying that, that's what happened to them on his other boat, is that they basically ended up getting lost while they're going through Magellan's Pass, and they ended up where they ended up. And, unfortunately, he, because of that error, he's where he is right now. And so we kind of have this great kind of like, we get to see the pilot kind of take over and kind of become the captain on the ship after the Portuguese guy falls overboard. And, he throws him the oar outside to kind of help him to keep afloat. And he keeps telling them, they got to row. You guys got to row. We got to get through this. Got to row. And you kind of see just kind of how the sea was, back in the 1600s, like what it'd be like to be on one of those boats. And I think that they did a really good job visually there. The whole visualization was done so well. And you got kind of a great kind of view of this portion of the sea, along with, kind of, what it would be like to be in a swall like that. Majority of people today don't know actually what a swall looks like. They don't go on boats, or, they weren't on boats around this time frame, which was a huge difference compared to nowadays, especially because all the boats are motorized and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that they did a really good job of giving us kind of a authentic feel of what that would be like to be on that ship. I think another film that does that really well is Master Commander, Far Side of the World, that came out in 2003 with Russell Crowe. That movie was a really good movie of showing what the sea was like back in that time frame. And I felt that it gave me that kind of vibes as I was watching this sequence with the boat. And I really enjoyed how pilot, he took over and he really exuded himself to kind of really help out there. And so basically after, they get to land, they have to try to go find the Portuguese, and they end up finding him over a cliff and decide to try to go down to save him. And I'll stop there.
Sir, did you get your Shogun shirt?
No.
It'll be in the mail. I got mine. Yours will be there soon. Anyways, Brian, your thoughts, sir? Pardon me.
Loved the scene. That was great. Established that the pilot he's the only one that predicted the bad weather that would be coming. So that gave him, again, established him as being just multifaceted badass. Seems to be, we're learning more and more about him and his competency as the episode goes on. And we're hearing from Rodriguez about the conflict of the three European countries, Spain, Portugal, England. We pick up some valuable info there. He seems sympathetic. He seems to be on the pilot's side at this point. And so as a viewer, I was kind of happy to have him have an ally of sorts. That didn't last too long, but, I was happy for it at the moment. But he clearly wanted him to survive. I mean, the whole presence of Rodriguez was to pluck Blackthorn from death, essentially. That's what he did. And then he repays the favor by insisting on looking for him once he goes overboard. Yeah, it's a Master Commander's a good call out, Cyber. That's kind of the cream of the crop for sail based nautical movies. Doesn't get better than that. So I'm loving this episode at this point.
Cyber, any counters there?
Nope.
Okay. So we go off that to the actual scene that Cyber was about to talk about, where we see the I want to call the engineer, the pilot, with rope, wanting to go save Rodriguez. And that's when we end up seeing badass Lord Yabushiga, right, from the cuck deal, being like, yo, this guy is protected like an asset. We gotta protect him. We can't go down here. I'm gonna go down here and do that shit. Falls, breaks his fucking back, right? Breaks his spine, but can still move and shit and whatnot. It's totally fine. And is rocking it. No, I mean, he falls like a good 15 feet onto a fucking rock. And somehow is okay. Is like, hey, Rodriguez is still alive. They throw down more ropes and they get him down. They get him back up, excuse me. After he's about to kill himself, when he gets caught up in the actual ocean, how rough the ocean is in the water, when he sort of I think gets caught. He's about to end his shit, which really kind of blows away the pilot that this is, he's starting to really grasp now what's going on here in Japan. This ain't no joke. Before he's about to kill himself, Lord Yagashiba is roped up, and they pull him back up, and Blackthorn bows to him. And I thought, oh, you're right. And I thought that Cosmo Jarvis played that scene very well. His emotion and his awe almost was very, I thought, authentic in that scene. Right? Back to Lord Teranaga with Toda Mariko, explained to her that he wants her to translate with the pilot. And then we end after Rodriguez talks to the pilot. Then they have a long conversation, another one of their dialogues. And then I'll go to you guys. We end with the first encounter of Blackthorn, Drink, and Lord Teranaga. Through translation. So, Brian.
Yep.
Through translation by Toda Mariko, played by Anna Sawai. Your thoughts, sir, on that final, I guess, 30% or so of the episode?
The Japanese cultural pride is definitely coming through strong. I was saying to myself, why in the hell is this guy about to kill himself? Just climb the fucking rock, man. That whole scene was a little odd, but I agree that it was really trying to establish this completely different cultural world where you have to save face. Saving face is the most important thing from a pride perspective. And we've seen now 2 instances of that. And a third gruesome one. But I liked the scene. I liked the stakes. Felt like you were up high. It felt like if you fell, I'm kind of scared of heights myself. So that scene was grabbing me, so to speak. It was interesting that they the Blackthorn drink really was the impetus behind even going to find Rodriguez. You know, that wouldn't have even happened had it not been for him. And then he kind of brings everybody along. Then he almost ends up killing Yabashige. You know, interesting scene all around. We also learn in this span, I believe, that we learn more about isn't this the span where we have Yabashige talking to Toranaga about the ship itself?
Yeah,
that Blackthorn was piloting.
Custodial property of it.
Yeah, we realize that, you know, Yabashige he's operating in his own interest completely. He senses chaos coming. He senses that Toranaga is possibly going to get offed by the rest of the regents, and he sees a power vacuum there. He thinks the ship could provide, you know, benefit to him in that context. And obviously, Toranaga, as soon as he hears about this ship and the potential that it's somebody other than the Portuguese, he's very interested in it. We don't know the full reasoning on his part at this point. But again, what I love about the show is all the intrigue. So many different forces at play, so many different interests. You have political interests, you have religious interests, you have, you know, with the foreigners, you have both of those layers. And then with the Japanese, you have political interests and a little bit of religious interests. You have these, you know.
Well, also, Brian, if you don't mind, you have Toranaga, who feels outnumbered by the council, right? And is being counseled that, you know, he's in a weak position, seeing the pilot as a possible partner.
Yep.
To fight.
An asset for sure. I don't know about partner to fight, but yeah, asset, I think, no doubt. But we also learned that within the warrior clans, there's the one guy, what's his name? Lord Shido. He seems to be, you know, allied with the other three, but we learned from some of the internal dialogue that he probably, as soon as he got rid of Toranaga, he would then move to strike down the other three as well. So that's not going to be the most, you know, we as the viewer know that we're not expecting a unified front there, even though he is outnumbered. In the short term, he's outnumbered, which is why he took the mother and the heir into his fiefdom. But I just love the intrigue. I was furiously writing notes. I'm way into it at this point.
We love it, Brian. That's great. There's nothing better than writing notes, sir. Cyber, sir, your thoughts on that part of the episode?
So the final portion of the episode, you know, between, you know, the cliff diving, basically jumping down to save Rodriguez, and, you know, badass, what's his name again?
Oh, Lord Yakashogi.
Okay. Lord Yakashogi.
It's fucking broke his spine, bro.
Yeah, I mean, basically he falls like, you know, 10 feet and somehow gets back up in his spine, which is, you know, whatever. It's freaking Japan.
Yo,
and,
dude should have been dead.
No, not for 10 feet. 10 feet, you could survive. You'd have to drop like 30 feet to really kill yourself. I've seen people drop from 30 feet and still survive, but it's a TV show, hence why he survived. But anyways, so, you know, he drops and he basically gets down there to try to get Rodriguez. And of course, you know, he falls into the sea and keeps getting hit rapidly against the rocks as he's trying to climb up. And I swear, as he's trying to climb, I feel like he's not trying to give any effort at all, trying to get up that wall at all. It just looks like he's going. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? And so when he figures out he can't get up that way for some reason, he's about to kill himself. and Pilot sees that and like thinks that this is like such a thing, like it's so I'm starting to get these things. His expression on his face kind of cracked me up, and I don't know what it is, but the guy that plays Pilot, Cosmo, he kind of has that dumb look on his face all the time. He kind of looks just like he's stupid or something, I swear. And so I'm like,
yeah, I don't like it. He looks like an ape.
Yeah,
he looks like an ape or something.
Yeah, he does not look right. He looks a little odd. And so as he's like kind of going dumbfounded look, as he's looking at about to kill himself, you're just kind of like I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know if he actually is thinking or what. But anyways,
if he was waiting for that chick from that earlier to come back, yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
He's like a regular sized white shack.
Yeah, there you go. And so like they throw the rope down and he sees it and he's about to, and the Lord guy, and he's like, okay, and he wraps it around himself and they lift him back up and then Pilot bows to him and I'm like, what are you bowing to him for?
I was waiting for him to suck his dick.
I'm like, are you bowing to him because he was retarded? He couldn't swim or something? Like, what are you like saying? Oh, you are master of ocean or something? I'm just like, what the hell?
He bowed to him because he was about to get killed.
I like
the dude came up with blood in his eyes. He was gonna kill him if he didn't bow to him.
Cyber, dude just got pissed off, bro. He didn't know what was going on.
He got pissed on a while ago, sir. And the Lord guy chuckles a little bit. And I think he was chuckling because like, are you a fucking moron? Why are you bowing to me? And so like we have that. Then after they have saved Rodriguez and they're on the boat and they have that lengthy conversation. About the ship quota and all that kind of stuff. He takes that stroll onto the deck to look at where they're going, and it's like really, beautiful there. And he once again another moment for 8-Man that oh wait, maybe there's more to Japan than meets the eye, basically, instead of just thinking it's savages and stuff like that. Hence what the Japanese are basically calling him throughout the whole TV show so far. And barbarian. And so then we have that kind of that exchange. Well, first we have, of course, the killing of that guy's line because he's such an idiot. And then we, of course, have that exchange between Hiroyuki Sanada and that girl, Anna Sawi, who, by the way, was also in Monarch, Legend of Monsters on Apple TV. She plays one of the main characters in that too. And they have that conversation basically of her becoming his translator for this guy that's about to come, that they're having come with them. And so basically, she kind of agrees, kind of hesitantly a little bit, but she agrees to do it. And basically then he comes up and, they kind of, the episode ends. But one other part I'd like to mention that was kind of interesting was when that Lord guy keeps the guy that Hiroyuki Sanada sends to bring him back. He's about to, slice him with the sword, but he stops him from doing it. That kind of surprised me that he was kind of like trying to save the guy. It kind of cracked me up. I was like, interesting. I thought that was kind of an interesting point there. So I'm wondering if later on in the series that'll come back at some point to like we'll find out more, like he has something maybe invested in this guy or something. So I'm interested to see if that goes anywhere. But overall, a great ending, a really solid start to the series, and just an overall really fun ending.
Okay, USA, Cyber. All right, guys, let's top this bitch off. Let's get ratings. Okay, USA. Let's do ratings and general thoughts of the episode. Just to wrap this up. I'll start with you, Brian. Give me your rating and your general thoughts as we've sat here and discussed this shit about this episode.
So far, 9.0 out of 10 for me. Very high rating. And I suspect it's only going to get better. I think it could start getting close to 10. That's my prediction. As I've been saying all along, I love world building. It's why I do a podcast about the MCU, to begin with. So I love world building. This is definitely doing some serious world building and quality resources, quality acting, everything about it's rolling.
So here, sir. Cyber, what do you think, sir? Rating, final thoughts?
So I give it a solid 10. I had no problems with it, so I would give it a solid 10 because it really entertained me. I really found it interesting and fun. I didn't find any parts slow. I enjoyed everyone's acting in it. I thought they all did a really good job, even though we had Eight-Face Man. He still, even though he was not the greatest, I still found him intriguing to a point. Cosmo definitely, it'll be interesting to see how he, basically pulls things in as we go along with the series. But overall, I thought it was a really solid first episode. I enjoyed all the different scenery, all the amazing looking costumes, and the whole concept and plot I thought was really well executed. And I could definitely see why, the critics are loving this and why it's 100% rotten fresh. It's really a hit of a show. And I think it's showing justice to that original series. Even though that series came out 43 years ago, or 44 going on now, I still think that's a really fantastic originals miniseries, and this one will be a lot different than that one. So I still think that Richard Chamberlain is still amazing for its time. But overall, I think that this is a really great start to this series, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else unfolds in it.
That slut ass samurai chick was definitely fresh. She was handling her business. Right? Come on, guys. The FS pushed the envelope on that shit. Seriously.
What scene we're talking about?
That slut ass samurai chick, whatever, whatnot, with the artwork and all that shit, whatnot, getting Lord Yakashiba all fucking jacked off.
Oh, with the kid. Gotcha.
Yeah, man, that shit was intense. You see the pure Lloyd passion of the samurai chick there. But anyways, folks, I guess that's pretty much about the end. After I drop my rating of episode 1 of Shogun, I'm gonna drop a 10 out of 10. Shogun looks like a fucking 10 out of 10 every episode, as far as I'm concerned, based off episode 1. I loved it. I enjoyed the fuck out of watching it. I love subtitles personally. I do. I'm one of them weird people who does enjoy them. I don't mind them. I like the fusion of the English with the subtitles. And overall, I just thought that the episode looks stunning. Just all of it. The greenery, the forest in the intro with the Lord Ternasaka, with the woods, right? And then seeing the coastline, the oceans. I thought it was really well shot. In general, we're going to go ahead and plug out and get the fuck out of here over at the FC's Bleeding Edge. And to start off, now, Brian, sir, when we do plugs, how would you like me to pull you up? What would you like me to pull you up on? What platform?
Discovering the MCU on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
All right, sir, I got your ass. All right, so you can go ahead, sir, and plug away. And I've got you pulled up right now and talk about your show, where you come from.
Thanks again for having us. I'm one of the 2 hosts of Discovering the MCU. It's a Marvel podcast where it's me, who is a longtime comic fan and just a devotee of the MCU. I've seen every movie at least 5 times. And my buddy Pat Moriarty is a brand newbie. He's kind of a nerd. He has Star Wars interests, but somehow, some way, he never watched the movies in the MCU, never cared about comics, and just didn't get caught up in the hype. So we're going through, he's watching each movie in release order, and We do movie reviews. We kind of get his impressions, and it's fun for people who love the stuff to see somebody see it for the first time. Then he makes predictions about what he thinks is going to happen next. So that's and a lot of banter. We end up talking about Taco Bell, and we go off on tangents quite a bit. So that's and we're not swingers, even though there's a freaking pineapple there. I didn't know about the swinger thing with upside down pineapples until long after we made this. That's usually the first question I get from people is, what's the deal? Is this a swingers podcast? No, it's just coincidence. I was just a dumbass that had a pineapple on my table when I was taking photos, headshot stuff. So that's it. Thanks for having me.
Well, there you go. Hey, I have no problem with your pineapple, and not there to Cyber, I promise. Pineapples are all good in the bleeding edge. Cyberneticshark, sir. What is going on, sir, with your individual content these days, my friend?
So as I always say, people, if you enjoy me here on either the panel or as a moderator, you can find me under Cyberneticshark under YouTube, TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook, pretty much any social media platform I'm on there.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, OnlyFans. You will find feet pics there. Of course, you can check out my most recent video that I put up, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare trailer reaction. That's my most recent video. Just put it up yesterday. It's an upcoming historical film being directed by Guy Ritchie. Looks really good. Henry Cavill's in it. Also, if you want to watch another historical movie review, you can check out The Boys in the Boat, which is a really good film by George Clooney. I'll be having more reviews and trailers up for you guys soon, and some more mini reviews for you guys. And my Madam Web review is coming soon. And just, keep on trucking. I'm up to 741. Really appreciate all the people subscribing. You guys are rocking it. And let's make it to that 1,000 mark, people.
There you go. And for the MCU'S Bleeding Edge plug, we've got for Rockville 2024, Cyber, where we're going to be going, Body and Foot Massage Spa Daytona. Right, Cyber? We can go ahead and get everything set up right now. $70 an hour, 35 half hour. That's what they told me on the phone. So we'll see. I don't know what the shit's about or that flower. I don't even know about that shit. But all I know is Rockville 2024, bitch. Massage parlors. Body foot massage. There you go, Cyber. That's totally Shogun, baby.
Shogun, people.
After that scene with that chick, with that banging that nephew, or whatnot, everything, there's nothing more that connects, right, Brian? More and collaborates more with the massage parlor.
I mean, I wouldn't really consider that banging when she was just giving him a hand job, but okay.
Yeah, that kid sucked, Brian, right? I mean, he did not even take advantage of what he was working with there.
Hey, man, the kid still doesn't know what happened to him. He has no idea what was going on. That was all about.
Did he even get his dick in her or what?
Well, cut. They left a little to the imagination. I think it's implied that definitely happened, but the last we saw, that had not happened.
Well, Cyber, I think you'd agree. Bleeding Edge style, we'd hope that had happened.
Sure.
Right? And no condoms.
Sure.
No condoms, because condoms take away all the feeling. I've heard. Just to pass it around. Take away all the feeling, it's no good. So either way, I know what doesn't make me feel good, Brian, is shit like this, right? Being down by She-Hulk. That is some real shit, brother. I just want to make it clear. Next time you come on the panel, I've been through the domination of She-Hulk, sir. Do you see? So, have some empathy for me.
That's you she's carrying?
Yeah, that's me going to the fucking bedroom. She-Hulk took me she put me in the cage and shit, bro.
Hey, well, who wouldn't do that? Come on. That's not even a question. That's silly to even talk about. Everybody in their right mind go into the bedroom with Jennifer. Gotta be kidding me.
Being carried like that, though?
Absolutely. I'd say whatever you want. Absolutely.
I don't know about that. I don't know, Cyber. Would you be down with that, sir?
With what?
Would you want to be carried to the bedroom like that by She-Hulk?
Me personally, no.
Doesn't even matter what you want. She would just do it. You're not stopping She-Hulk. What Walters wants, Walters gets. Come on, dude.
Oh.
Well, Cyberneticshark is one feisty motherfucker. He will fight for his cherry, sir. Just to be clear. Anyways,
I will Hulk out.
Yeah, he'll Hulk out for that cherry, Brian. Anyways,
I didn't realize he was a virgin still. So, seeing as you're still a virgin, then that's different. I could see.
No, he's not a virgin anymore. She-Hulk got his ass. She-Hulk already got his ass after me. He's already been She-Hulk too.
I understand, man. I understand a lot better now. Now that I understand he's a virgin, I didn't understand the dynamic. I would fight as well if I were.
Talk about your night with She-Hulk.
Well, it was very interesting because when we went on the date initially, she was Jennifer Walters, and after the date, all of a sudden she turned into She-Hulk, and then next thing I know, there was some weird shaped thing coming out, and she was like deciding. She kept saying, "Let's go this way. Let's go this way," and I'm like, I don't know if I want to go that way. And she's like, "Okay, let's go that way." I'm like, "Okay." And next thing I know, we were in there, and the night has gone into a blur.
All right, Brian, we're going to compete right now. You and your She-Hulk comic versus my She-Hulk award right here. This is what I match up. She-Hulk number one.
Sorry, I'm engrossed in my comic here. I don't know what's going on.
I'm matching it up. I'm matching that episode, right, Cyber? With my new reward right here. The She-Hulk. I think I'm straight, but I'm not sure. Award of penis. I'm matching it up. Versus the She-Hulk episode 1.
I have no idea, but you definitely deserve the Danny fucking award tonight. Holy shit.
Oh, wait. Holy shit.
Is that a solid 3?
You're getting the Brian. You know what? I'm getting the award. There you go, Brian. I'll get the Danny award again. Double Danny's tonight, folks.
Is that a mold you got there? What?
I don't know what that is. Cyber said it to me.
What?
I was talking about the 3 inches you just pulled out.
I didn't send that to you.
Anyways, folks, we the MC Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast appreciate you very much. We appreciate Brian, Shirley, and Pat.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate Cyberneticshark, co-host, veteran content creator, YouTuber. Sir, thank you very much for your contribution to the panel tonight. We appreciate you. And God bless you. We'll see you next time. And peace.
Nobody say